here. Good morning. Um, yeah, I did see you pop in there. So good morning. We're just starting the class and going over the assignment. You can always refer back to the video or to the recording that I'm making, and it will help you uh, if you have any questions about anything. So what I want you to do is I want you in a separate window, open up Canvas, please, and go to today. So if you went to my course page and you scroll down to today, which is Thursday, August 20th, you would have clicked period 5 to be in the meeting. And if you click there, this is where you should be. And I would like you to be right here, please, on your screen. So what I've tried to do, and what I try to do with anytime we do a major assignment or project, is I try to front load it with everything you need at once. So I'm not constantly throwing things at you after we start and going, oh, by the way, you need this. Oh, by the way, you need this. Now, for a lot of people, I know this may be overwhelming, but I'm not trying to do that for you. And I just realized something's missing. So, here I'm eating my own words here. So I just noticed that something is missing from your class, from the other class, and I don't understand what it is. So, oh, duh. You need to know what park you're doing, right? I mean, that's kind of a big thing. Jeez, that's not good. Man, see, I'm getting flustered. I'm just a mess. So, all right. So, what I want you to do on that first page is I want you to download the assignment overview document and put that into Notability, please, while I update this. So when you go to the course page and you go to the assignment, the assignment overview that shows all the details of what you're going to be researching, that's what I would like you to put into Notability right now if you haven't already, okay? And I'm going to adjust this right now. My apologies for the delay. Still figuring stuff out. Okay. Just got to embed the link and then we'll be good. Let's see. What's the difference? Sorry, I'm talking to myself. I know. That's a little strange, but all right, this should work now. Let's make sure of that. Oh, rats. That's not it. Oh, sorry, folks. This is undoubtedly going to happen at some point, so I'm glad we're dealing with it now, or I'm dealing with it now, and you're unfortunately having to wait on me. I apologize. Oh, yeah, if I had just read, I would have known that that was not the right one. Gosh, I'm such a goober. Okay. Okay, so go ahead and have the document out in front of you. All right, now I should have everything good to go. So, all right. Okay, we're going to go over which park we're researching in a little bit, but this is where I want you to be right now. Okay, right here. All right, the project itself. So what are we actually doing? Well, you're going to be researching a national park. And the reason why we do this is because it actually is an effective way of covering our standards that we have on geography. Okay, we have a couple that we have to cover for geography. Okay, and so I find this to be a much more interesting assignment, and I've done this assignment to start the year every year for the last 11 years. And so I find it to be meaningful because otherwise I would have gotten rid of it a long time ago. Okay, so it is very important that you stick with me and you're listening to me through this step and through this process. Okay, first of all, your finished product. What am I actually producing? You're producing a Google Slides presentation. In a normal situation where we would be in the classroom, I would be willing to give other options. But given the circumstances that we are in, I don't want people to be stressed out about other options not working or tech situations. Google Slides presentation, you can complete it and you can submit it right into Canvas, and that will be a lot easier for you and for me, okay? And I know that Google Slide presentations are not the most exciting thing in the world, but given the circumstances, that's what I'd like to run with, okay? So I put here under each product must include the following. I put check marks here on the box. I put boxes here on the left. I had several students in the last couple of years that said, I do really well with like a checklist. In other words, excuse me, if I know exactly what I need to complete and I can check it off as I go, I can be much more successful in making sure that I get everything done for the assignment and fulfill all the obligations, okay? So we'll talk more about the finished product in a moment, but one of the things that, obviously the big part of this assignment is going to be the information that you research, okay? And so when we talk about the third point here, relevant information, including dates, basic facts, history, and landforms, that's like an overall encompassing statement of what you're going to be looking for. And it kind of starts out like this. And if you're wondering, yes, I do have a finished product that I'm going to be providing for you as an example, okay? History about the park. Okay, date when the park was established. I would like to know when it became a national park. In some cases, your park was designated as a monument or a preserve or something else prior to it becoming a park. Like, for example, in Indiana, we have the Indiana Dunes National Park just became a national park in the last couple of years. Before that, it was a national lakeshore. That would be an example. So it's usually going to be the latest date that you find in your research when you are doing that. Okay. So I don't, and you may want to discuss the fact that it went through this process of being called this and then this and then this. And then finally it was a national park in 1988 or something like that. Okay. People that helped the land become a park. Okay. That could be an organization. It could be an individual. It could be a member of Congress. It could be a governor. It could be just a regular private citizen, somebody who appealed and talked to the federal government over and over again and said, look, we have a very important resource here that we have to be able to protect. And they went through the painstaking process of making sure that this was going to be something that was not going to be destroyed. Okay. Because it's not as if it's always been the case that the Everglades, the wetlands were viewed as something to be preserved, or the cliff dweller ruins at Mesa Verde, or the redwood trees in California. Somebody had to say we have to protect these. Okay. Cultural history. What does cultural history look like? Well, cultural history includes Native American history in the region, tribes that may have lived on that land prior to becoming a park. You could talk about European history. You could talk about the exploration of, like the Spanish that went through Florida and would have settled in the region or, been in the region near the Everglades. I mean, Florida was a Spanish territory for a very long time. So the area where you have the Everglades was Spanish territory for a long time. That could be a part of that cultural history, okay? Issues with the land becoming a park. I just want to let you know right now that you may not be able to find something on this on your park. It would be a distinctive bit of information about the fact that there were people competing for the land, and that caused issues with it becoming a park. It could be that there was oil on the park. There could be that people wanted to graze on the park. People wanted to farm on the park. People wanted to mine on that land. And there was concerns about the fact that it shouldn't be just for a park. The resources there would have been too valuable. That's something that you're going to be able to find. If you spend, I don't want you spending 10 hours on this one area because you're probably not going to find it. It would be something that would be distinctive and relatively straightforward and something that you would be able to find and be like, yeah, this is a major issue. And it's not going to be something that everybody's going to be able to find. Okay. States in which the park is located. That should be a given. And that kind of goes with this relevant information of basic facts. Okay. you should be able to know, Mammoth Cave is in Kentucky, and Sequoia National Park is in California, or Olympic National Park is in Washington, or Yellowstone is in parts of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. Now, most parks do not go into multiple states. That last one, Yellowstone's, it's an anomaly in many ways. Okay, but you should be able to tell me which state your park's in. That should be relatively easy to find. Okay, unique animals and plants that inhabit the area. Okay, everybody listen very carefully here. I don't need a list of the 475 different kinds of spotted salamanders that are in your park, if that's something that you find. Okay, I want you to be aware that this is about, hold on, I gotta get somebody in there. This is about unique animals. Now, you can list, the unique animals and plants that are in your park, but I don't need you to have 8 slides listing every single one of them. I don't need the 107 different types of wildflowers. Okay. Like in Mammoth Cave, they have eyeless fish that live in the cave system because it's dark and they don't need it. And naturally, through the process of, I don't even know what that scientific term is called, but is adaptation, I think is what it is. But through adaptation, they haven't needed eyes because they live in a cave system that is mostly dark, obviously. Okay. That would be something unique. Or in the Everglades, for example, alligators and crocodiles coexist, and it's, I believe, the only place on earth where that happens. That's interesting. Okay. So find the unique animals and plants that are specific to your park, and don't worry about listing every single species that's there. Okay, that'll take you forever, and it's not really what I'm looking for. Okay, climate. What's the climate like in your park? What's it like at different times of the year? You know what climate's about. All right, I want everybody to highlight or star this one right there. And the reason why is because this is a big part of your research. When we go over the rubric, there's one aspect of the rubric that's just about this right here. Why do people visit your park is a question you should be asking yourself through this entire research period. And honestly, the amazing thing is that I didn't even think about posing this as a specific question until about 3 or 4 years ago. It just struck me as I needed to simplify and make sure students understand specifically that I want them to know and be able to explain why is it that people go to Acadia? Why is it that people travel thousands of miles to go to Yosemite in California? Why do people go to Mesa Verde or Big Bend? Why do they go there? What are the unique landforms and park features? This is something that you have to be able to find. And you should be able to, because your park is there for a reason, because there is something unique about the park, which is why it's being protected. Okay. So this is something that should be a focal point of your project. Okay. Issues that may exist with the park. Now, I know there's a lot listed here, and this is why I put this statement right here, that you're not going to be able to find issues for your park for every one of these. You may not be dealing with issues of land rights or modification of physical features. You may not be dealing with wildlife extinction, but every park has an issue. Every single national park has a problem. Okay? So you need to focus on the ones that are specific to your park, and don't spend 10 hours on Yellowstone development of roads if there isn't anything about that. Okay? So not all these issues may relate to your park. Only a few may relate to your park, and focus on those. Focus on like pollution. Is there a factory 20 miles down the road that's polluting the air in the park? That could be an issue. Okay, last topic for research. Recreational opportunities and tourism. What do people do when they go there? What do they look at? Where's the hiking? Where's the swimming? Where's the biking? I don't need 5 slides about this, but you should be able to tell me what they do. And then here's one that cannot be overlooked. Economic impact on local community. All right. Some of you may have been to Mammoth Cave because it's pretty close to Bloomington. It's only a few hours. Okay, I went there a couple summers ago with my family. When we went to Mammoth Cave, there was a lot of people there. And the surrounding communities, the towns, because Mammoth Cave is not really near a big city. Mammoth Cave is near a lot of small communities. Those small communities and towns benefit from people going to Mammoth Cave. Why? Because they stop at the gas station and buy gas. They stop at the restaurants and eat food. They stop at the hotels and stay there. That's economic impact. All right. And so, for example, if I wanted to find the economic impact of Yosemite National Park, all I would do, honestly, is type in the name of my park and then type the words economic impact. And I see right here, nps.gov, which is one of the resources I will show you about, says that in 2018, over 4 million people visited Yosemite National Park, and they spent in the communities near the park over $495 million. That's economic impact. Okay. Now, Yosemite is an extremely popular park, and it's one of the most visited parks that they have. So it's not as if these numbers are going to be relatively consistent with every park, but every park brings money to the communities. Okay. And that's something that you have to be able to talk about when it discusses economic impact. Okay. Bibliography, of course, you need a bibliography. You're doing a research project. At least 3 sources. And I will just tell you right now, you're probably going to have at least double or triple that. If you send me a message and say, Mr. Williams, I only have 1 source, I'm going to disagree with you because you're also citing images. So you may want to put a little note here on the side. I am also citing images. Okay. And I'll come back and talk about images in a minute. Okay. MLA format is something that you should be familiar with. If you're not completely familiar with MLA format, if you use any online bibliography generator like easybib.com or bibme.com, bibme.com, you choose MLA format, you enter the link, you confirm the information, and it gives you the MLA formatted citation. Okay, it's a lot easier than when I was in school and we had to write them out by hand using the guide. Okay. Let's go back to pictures real quick in these first 2. Pardon me. Title slide. I'll show you what that looks like. I think you kind of understand what that means. Pictures and maps with labels. Well, why would I be asking you to label your images? Well, if you're going to be showing the images of your park, let's say it's Bryce Canyon, and you have a picture out there, and I just curiously ask you, okay, what's this picture of? And you say, well, it's just, something in Bryce Canyon. I would like you to be specific about it, because in a project situation where you are explaining a topic to somebody, you have to assume that the person who's viewing it and grading it has no prior knowledge about the topic. Now, I've done this assignment for years and years, and I know a fair amount about each park, but you can't just assume that it's me viewing it. It could be that, it would have to be just a regular person who's never been to Bryce Canyon, for example, and you want to tell them about the park and you want to be able to label these images. But this is anytime there's a project with labels or with pictures and maps, I have to be very cautious with students. This is not, listen very carefully. This is not, I have 30 photos and then like 4 lines of information. No. Okay. It needs to be, the images and the maps are secondary to the information. And I will show you that with the finished product. Okay. Let's go down to due dates here. These due dates are in the Canvas calendar already for you. Okay. August 25th. That is a Tuesday, which is the next time we meet. All right. We will still be meeting live during our live sessions, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But what I'm going to be asking you to do is to send me a screenshot or just a picture if you're writing out your notes on paper, which is obviously perfectly fine. I want you to submit your progress of your notes. This is not all the notes are due that day. That's not the case. Okay. You should still be researching. I mean, heck, guys, that's only 5 days away. So this is about a check. Because if you submit to me something where you have 2 lines down, we're going to have to come up with a plan for you to be successful in completing this assignment. Okay. So this is a check progress. I'm not just giving you the assignment and saying, I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm going to try to support you as best I can every step. So if you have questions, you need to show up to my office hours. If you're having concerns, you need to show up to my office hours. If you have a quick question about something, send me a Canvas message. But you have to understand that you need to take initiative to contact me if you have any concerns, okay? I'm going to pause there for a moment and ask if there's any questions to let me know right now. Okay, when is your project due? Okay, in the Canvas calendar, there's your notes check, and there is your notes check, and then here's your due date. Now, I'll tell you right now, okay? I put this due date for all sections. If you need to turn it in on the 2nd, I'm okay with that. All right? Because technically the 2nd would be that extra day that you would be given considering your day behind the other classes. So if it needs to be on the 2nd, that's fine. If you want to turn it on the 1st to be done, that's great too. Okay? But I'm willing to be flexible with that. So just understand that those are in there as such. Okay. All right. Please note that even though you're going to be doing a project, we are still meeting on live days briefly. We may not be meeting for 45 minutes or anything like that, but we will still be meeting to check in. I will be re-emphasizing certain points of the assignment, because if we were in the classroom right now, I would be introducing the assignment, telling you the park you're doing, and then the next time we met, that class time in person would be used to do research. So I wanted to check in with you, but I don't want to hold up all your time during that, okay? All right. Let's talk about the next part of the assignment. So you have the assignment overview. That should be something that you need to save. I would just put it in Canvas and mark on it so you know exactly what the expectation is, okay? Resources are here. All right. Whenever we do a project like this, I will provide you with quality resources. And the first one you need to start with is the one at the very top, nps.gov. The National Park Service controls and operates every single national park. And because of that, every single national park has a website. So it should be expected that if you type in your park name, it should be the first result that comes up. Like right here, I just typed in Yosemite National Park, nps.gov. This is the official web page for this park. And yes, somebody is doing Yosemite, okay? But every single national park will have a website. All right. Now it will look a little bit different on the iPad. The layout will be, but it doesn't matter because you're still going to be able to find tons of information. This would be recreation and tourism. And look here, just in one tab, we have history and culture, including people involved. So chances are some of these people are pretty important to the park. You have nature, including animals and plants, ecology, environmental factors, natural features and ecosystems. Okay. So if you think about what you're being expected to research, right there on this one site and this one heading is probably about 75% of what you're looking for here. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use other resources that I've given you, but let's face it, the National Park Service website is reputable and accurate, and that's what you need to be using first. I don't want you just going to Wikipedia, okay? I don't. because I provided you with a reliable, accurate website that is going to be the best site to use to start your research, okay? Any questions on the assignment with the resources? Okay, assignment submission and rubric. When it's time to turn in your assignment, you'll have a submission here, a turn in, all right? This is what it looks like for me because I'm the teacher, I created it. But here's your rubric right here, 20 points. And notice here, your research of your information, and your physical feature information is half your grade. That's 10 out of the 20 points. 4 for the labeled images, 2 for the bibliography, 4 for grammar. Yeah, I am going to watch for grammar because your park name should be capitalized. Like Yosemite National Park, okay? Everything's capitalized. National Park Service, that's a proper noun. That's all capitalized, okay? In punctuation, beginning the sentence with the capital letters, stuff that we should know by now. Those things I will be watching for, okay? All right. Now, let's go over who's doing which park. So what I need you to do is I need you to open up this document that you should have in Notability. And right here where it says National Park, you're going to write down the name of your park. And you may have paper out in front of you and you're going to do it that way as well. But you should be able to tell me after today which park you're doing. That should not be a secret, okay? All right, period 5. Those are the parks. So Maya Brumley, you're doing Arches. Ella, you are doing Badlands. Sloan, you are doing Crater Lake. And I'm going to keep this up so you can check the spelling on this. Oops. Oh, you can all see that there. Simon, you're doing Dry Tortugas. Sophia, you're doing Glacier National Park. Arlo, you're doing Mesa Verde. Frank, you're doing Biscayne. Violet, you're doing Death Valley. Theo, you're doing Acadia. Kai, you're doing the Grand Canyon. David, you're doing Mammoth Cave. Sammy, you're doing the Everglades. Devin, you're doing Petrified Forest, and it's not as scary as it sounds. And yes, that's a really bad joke. Adela, you're doing Redwood. Elena, you're doing Shenandoah. Paul, you're doing Yellowstone. Leo, Zion National Park. Krishil, you're doing Carlsbad Caverns. Mason is doing Grand Teton. Asidi, you're doing Yosemite. Stephen is doing Wind Cave. Vitold is doing Rocky Mountain National Park. Alexander's doing Bryce Canyon. Maya, you're doing Olympic. Maya Vit. Marcus, you're doing Mount Rainier. Delana, you're doing Great Smoky Mountains. Joyce, Denali National Park. And Joffrey, you're doing Big Bend. Okay, I'll leave that up for a minute so you can get the spelling down. You can access this later, obviously. All you have to do is scroll down to the period 5 because I have all the classes listed there. Okay. Does anybody have any questions right now before I do the last thing and show you the example? Any questions? Okay. Let's look at an example. So if you go back to this page, and I will make sure that you can find these every day that we meet live. So, and you should have, I would say it's important that obviously you have the assignment saved into Notability. You may want to put the list of resources in the Notability as well. This is a Canvas document, but the other two, you can have those there. So this is a finished product example from several years ago. Okay, John Smith is not the actual student. And nobody's doing Saguaro, which is why I picked this example. Okay, so a lot of people ask, what should it look like? Well, this is a good example of a finished product. Okay, so here's your title slide. Notice the park is fully capitalized. All the words are capitalized. So when you're saying the full name, Saguaro National Park, National and Park should be capitalized as well because it's a proper noun. It's a title or designation for the park, okay? Then we go into basic facts. Images labeled. Location of the park. This is basic facts as well, just outside of Tucson, Arizona. History of the park. Now, this person went pretty detailed in history. They have 3 slides for it. That's going to be completely your call. But again, I would make sure you go through what the assignment is asking you to do. Okay. And the interesting thing about this park is it went through several designations before it actually became a national park. So it didn't become a national park until 1994. And it was a designated wilderness. It was a district monument. So this is an example where you may want to talk through this, but it did not become a national park until 1994. Okay. Let's see here. People who helped the land become a park. Talked about specific organizations. You have Teddy Roosevelt, the President of the United States. Teddy Roosevelt is going to be a name that some of you will probably have mentioned in your park because he was had a big part in why the National Park Service exists in the first place. Mining and land rights. So this is a unique example where, going back to the assignment where it said, issues with the land becoming a park, that would be something that this falls under. This may not be something that you're going to be able to find though, okay? So this is about an outside group trying to utilize the resources, okay? Weather and climate. Landforms. Animal species. Now notice here, it says there's 107 species of birds, but the person did not list the 107 species of birds or show pictures of 107 species of birds. You don't need to do that, okay? Animals continued. Plants. Obviously, this is a desert region, so we're not going to have like deciduous trees like we have in Indiana, okay? Issues with the park. Notice that it's not every single item that's listed here. It's only a few because not every single issue affects every single park, okay? Recreation. What do people do there? Economic impact. When you are looking at economic impact data, you need to find the most recent date. That could be 2018, it could be 2019, it could be 2015. Please try to find something as relevant and as recent as possible. Something from 1985 is not going to be considered accurate and up to date, okay? Economic impact and then bibliography. Now, notice here, 3 pages of bibliography. Bibliography is not, don't think of it as daunting. If you keep track of your resources as you use them, and honestly, the best way to do that is just to have on your notes page at the top links so you know that what goes to what page, okay? But have your bibliography at the end of your title slide or at the end of your project, and it says that right there. It says in the, right here. This should be the final slide of your Google Slides presentation. So you're going to have it all together. The bibliography and the visual product are all one thing, okay? So you can access this at any time to get an idea, but notice how they started out. They really went through the project in the same order that's on the list, okay? The same order that's through here, okay? All right, we're about out of here, so I want to make sure I'm going to stop recording.